All right, welcome to Talk-Jitsu with host Uki Mike, Joey Boretski, and me, Jordan Preisinger from Jordan Teaches Jiujitsu. Today we have a great episode for you guys, and we're going to talk only about ecological approach. No, not actually. We're not going to talk about that. That's what we're not going to talk about because, one thing that's kind of funny, I got like a hit piece written about me, in my opinion, about eco, and it was kind of a strange thing, but again, we won't talk about that too much. We'll save that for another day, and today we'll start off with the Craig Jones stuff. What do you guys think about that? Like offering $1 million to the winners of the divisions. There's only 2 divisions, and it's on the same day as ADCC to kind of spite them, right? To kind of force them to offer more money because all these high-level guys are going to CGI, Craig's tournament, instead of ADCC. And ADCC might be just kind of like a new wave open mat, like just like new wave guys and just like very like... not as high level competition as we're used to. So, Mike, we'll start with you. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's amazing, and I think that the super fight is going to be amazing. The intergender championship of the world between him and Gabby Garcia. That's been a build up for many years, but I think for the sport, it's great for the athletes to finally be able to get paid properly, and they're. Just to show up, you get $10,001, correct?
Yeah,
and
which is badass.
2 divisions, one over 80K, one under 80K, and then maybe a women's division if they get another sponsor, so to speak. But I think it's amazing for the athletes. I think the only downside of it is for the fans that bought tickets for ADCC to expect to see all these amazing guys that are not going to be there. They're all going over to Craig's. From what I've heard, the only people that haven't is pretty much new wave guys.
Yeah, exactly. Who do you think is going to win the super fight between Gabby Garcia and Craig Jones? Who do you think, Joey?
Oh, man, I have no idea. I want to say Craig, but I have some feeling he might just troll his way into losing this match. This guy's the gift that keeps on giving, man. He's comical. I think if I had to bet, I think I would bet on Craig.
Yeah.
I'd bet my house on Craig, unless he's going to like do something, kind of trolling. Not that Gabby's not, good, but I don't think she's super technical, and I think that Craig is very technical, and he would just destroy her.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this tournament is just one of the best things to happen to grappling in a long time. Like Mike said, the prize money's fantastic. It's about time athletes get paid for just showing up. Like, you're putting a bracket of the 16 best grapplers in a weight class on the planet, and like a lot of these tournaments go, we'll pay you if you win. And if you do win, usually they pay you peanuts anyways. Like, it's ridiculous. But, anyone who's competed knows, like, if you put 16 of the best guys in the world and you run that tournament every day for 10 straight days, you might have 10 different winners. It might not be the same person every time. So, like, for some of these guys, like, oh, you had a bad day that day? Cool, you get no money. Whereas at least this way, you have a bad day, you're still getting a base pay, which is more than ADCC's gold medal pay. So I love that.
Yeah, I really like the 2 divisions. Like, I think that it's kind of crappy for the smaller people, but I think it makes it more exciting just for everyone to watch because you have guys going against each other that normally wouldn't, unless it was the absolute division. But I think it makes it more exciting, just kind of only 2 divisions and just really the best of the best guys.
And when there's $1 million on the line, they're going to fucking go for it. Because, they go for it now at ADCC for $10K. For $1 million, wow, you're going to see them hold out a lot longer and maybe scramble, maybe, fight a bit harder.
And I think that the $1 million prize is going to drive more people to compete. And we'll start getting even better and better athletes in jiu-jitsu because now they're like, okay, there is money in jiu-jitsu. Like, for me, like, when I saw that $1 million prize, I'm like, maybe I should come out of retirement. And it's funny, I did message Craig Jones. I asked him for a spot, but I told him, like, I know I don't deserve it, but if given the opportunity, I'm going to make the most of it. Like, I wouldn't go just to participate. Like, I would go to win. Like, that'd be my objective, and I would do everything I can. So if he did say yes, which he didn't respond back to me, which is totally fine, but if he did, I would do a camp somewhere. I would like go somewhere for like 8 weeks or even more, and just focus on getting ready. And I feel like that would really get me out of like, that would really like motivate me. Like $1 million, cause like it's tough, like having everything I have, like there's not a lot of motivation to compete when there's not a lot of money to be made. Like what's really the point of it? But to win $1 million, I'm willing to sacrifice my time, my energy, all that stuff, and just go all in. And not saying I would win, but like obviously I wouldn't like. I'm a competitor. Like I wouldn't do something if I didn't think I could win. And yeah, it would be a good time. But maybe next year, you know, I thought about moving to like Austin or somewhere like that, and just training for like a whole year and focusing on myself of like being a competitor, with the goal of doing the next CGI. So if there is another one, that's something I might consider, because that's the quickest path to $1 million, I think. So yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. I think it's really good for the sport.
And they're scoring it quite differently than any other tournament I've ever heard of. They're having 3 5-minute rounds with some sort of system for points, and then a 10-point must system.
Yeah, and Joey, what do you think about that? Because at first glance, I was like, I don't really like this, because it's not even a perfect scoring system in MMA. Like, it's very criticized for good reason at times. But then I started thinking about it more, and I kind of do like it. I feel like it's good. It's good for the casual viewer to understand. And it also, I think the 5-minute rounds will make it more exciting, because you need to do more in those rounds to get the win. It's not just one match that you can, like a 10-minute match or more, that you can, you know, take it slow. Like every round you need to win if you want to win the whole thing. Like, I mean, you can win 2 and lose 1, but like you're going to do everything you can to win those rounds.
It's open scoring as well, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the open scoring is really important. My worry with the open scoring, though, is like you said, you might see someone win rounds 1 and 2 and then go, I'm up 2 rounds. I'm probably not going to lose this match. Let me coast as much as I can in round 3 so that I can make it to the next round of the tournament as like unfatigued as possible. Is that a word? Unfatigued? Whatever. I'm making it up if it is. You know, if I can skate through with as little fatigue. So you might see some issues with that. But I do agree, like if you see like, you know, guys are 1-1 in the first 2 rounds. Round 3 is going to be interesting because they know where they stand. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of the rule set. Anytime you bring judges into it, there's always that question of like, well, how competent are these judges? I mean, we watch professional MMA. I mean, just this weekend there was a fight. I didn't watch it, but you know, one judge scores at 50-45 one way, and the other scores at 49-46 for the other guy. It's like, how can 2 judges score these rounds that differently? So I think when you bring in judges, you kind of run into the potential for someone just being like absolutely inept and screwing someone out of a win. But I do like the rounds. I think it's interesting. I'm not a huge fan of just matches that are like 15-minute rounds, because people just pace themselves accordingly. You know, it's not as fun to watch. I want to watch guys fight. And I feel like if you give a lot of these guys 5-minute rounds with some rest in between, they're going to put out a higher output. I mean, you see some of the guys already confirmed. Like, I can't imagine Andrew Tackett in 5-minute rounds with a minute rest in between. That guy's not going to stop moving. That's going to be exciting as hell to watch. So I kind of like it. I think it could be improved on a little bit, but again, this is their first event. I have a strong feeling they're going to try this rule set and be willing to change it if something's not perfect. I mean, one thing we have to keep in mind is like Craig is a competitor. He's always been a competitor. He understands what it's like from that side. So I think if they run the event and the rule set has some problems they don't like or anything like that, I do think he'll be willing to change it. Unlike a lot of my cat's anus right in the fucking camera. Unlike a lot of events that are run by like a promoter who might not himself be a competitor, they don't have the competitors in mind. First, they have entertainment or their product, their rule set, whatever they're trying to peddle. So I think this is really interesting. I mean, Craig's been pretty open about this being a competitor-driven event.
Yeah, that's something I hadn't really thought of. I think that's a really good point, that like his perspective being a high-level competitor, I think that's going to contribute to being a better overall event. Like Mo, who runs ADCC, as far as I know, he's never competed. So like his perspective on what's best and what's not might be a little different. And like, how would you feel if you're Mo right now? Like, I would be so pissed. I'd be so frustrated, but at the same time, it's like you did it to yourself. I mean, like, you know, other tournaments, they offer 10,000 to win, like smaller ones like Polaris and other ones like that. And they're smaller tournaments, and this is ADCC, and it's only on every 2 years, and they've stuck to $10,000, and they never, never risen the price despite like soaring inflation. So yeah, like how would you feel if you were Mike, if you were Mo right now?
Well, he said in a live chat that I think 16 people once dropped out before and he had to replace them. So replacing people's not a problem. There's always somebody else. But in the back of his mind, he's like, fuck that cocksucker for doing that. You know, because who wouldn't? You know what I mean? I get it. I get where he'd be frustrated. But fuck. If I was Craig, I'd be nervous. I'd be nervous. Like, no
if you're
bullshit.
Craig or Mo, sorry.
If I was Craig.
Oh, Craig.
I'd be nervous.
Why?
Because you're stealing from the most prestigious event ever. You're not stealing, but you know what I mean. Like, you're throwing this on at the same time to disrupt, which I totally agree with Craig for doing this 100%. I'm not shitting on him for that, but he even said like he should watch his back because there might be some people out there that don't like that too much. On Mo's side.
I think he'll be fine. I mean, I don't think ADCC is a massive profit-making machine. I do think it makes a profit, and this is another really interesting thing about the Craig Jones Invitational is we're actually going to find out what viewership numbers are like for the highest level of professional grappling. They're running it free on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's no paywall. There's no flow that you have to pay for. If this gets 5,000 views, like, hey, maybe ADCC was right. Maybe there just isn't the amount of money coming in and the amount of viewership to pay these people that much money. But if this gets 20 million views, then maybe you guys were wrong. Maybe there is money coming in. Maybe there are viewerships that we can run ad revenue against. I think this will be really interesting because being on YouTube, they're not going to be able to hide the viewership numbers.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have a strong feeling that CGI is going to be extremely successful. And like everyone's gonna watch it because I'm gonna watch it. Like I don't want to get a Flow membership. Screw that. Like I don't want to support Flow, and I also don't want to waste money on that membership. If I can watch an event for free that has these high level competitors, that's what I'm gonna do. And I feel like a lot of people are in the same position as me. Like you guys. Like, what are you guys gonna do? Are you guys gonna watch ADCC, or are you guys gonna watch CGI?
I'm going to watch it on YouTube for free, and then I'll probably scour the internet for highlights of ADCC, to be honest with you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have Flow, so I'll probably watch the Craig Jones Invitational live and then watch Flow later once both events are done, or catch, because they do store the events. You can watch it a little bit later. I think the other nice thing that Craig said they're doing is it's one match at a time for the Craig Jones Invitational.
That's so frustrating to watch.
Oh my God. I hate that about ADCC.
Yeah.
You're trying to watch and you're like, okay, there's a huge match I'm watching here. And then I look at my phone and it's like someone else has submitted someone they shouldn't have beaten in like 30 seconds. And you're like, wait, what's happening? Like, I can't watch all these matches at the same time. It's not possible.
I think that's going to make it more exciting too, because when all the spotlight is on you and you're in the pit, I think that's going to just drive people to go way harder and really fight for it more. Whereas opposed to like, not that you wouldn't fight hard for it, but like when there's all these matches going on at the same time, it's like, I don't know, you can kind of, feel the pressure a little bit less, I think, because there's eyes on other competitors. I think this is like way better. And I think the pit is like really cool too, because I mean, you can't stall really. Well, you can stall in certain ways, but you can't just back up. I mean, you don't want to go up against the sides of the pit because you get pinned there. And it's even better than like a fence for like MMA, right? Because the fence can help keep you up. But the pit, the way it's sloped, it's not going to help keep you up. It's going to be a hindrance. And the other person can use that. Like Craig Jones used a flying triangle off the pit wall. And I love the pit idea.
I think they're calling it the alley in this one because he said you only do two things in the alley: you fight or you fuck. So that's what he said. Anyways, he's a fucking character. You gotta love him, or love to hate him. One or the other.
Yeah, I think the only person that hates hates Craig is Mo. Like,
don't forget New Wave, man. I don't think they like him very
much.
Yeah,
you're right.
He likes trolling them. No, I think this is really good. I like the idea of it being one match at a time, obviously for spectator reasons. Like, we all get to watch every match, which makes it really easy to, like, go through the brackets. I know, like, my wife doesn't watch a lot of professional grappling. She grapples, but she doesn't watch a lot of pro stuff. But when, like, trials or ADCC come on, we'll watch some of that. And it's hard. Like, I'm a dork. I watch all this stuff. I know what weight class these guys are in. I follow it, but she's just super casual, and she'll see a guy and be like, oh, he was really exciting. When's he fight next? Who does he fight? And we can't keep track of like who fights who, what round are we in? How much more do we have to go? Oh, that guy won. What does that mean? Who does he fight now? Is he in and it's impossible. This way, it's really easy. Like, hey, here's all this weight class. Cool, watch it. And I also think, like you said, it's going to be interesting for the athletes with the pressure. I mean, anyone who's competing in a tournament, there's people yelling all over. It's stressful, but it's really different when you have a super fight or an MMA fight where every eye is on you. You have to perform. There's no like, oh, something was happening on another match. Only a couple people saw it. It's no big deal. Like, people are going to see it, man.
Yeah, exactly. And what do you guys think? Like, do you think the pit is better for MMA too? Like, do you think that'd be good if like the UFC implemented the pit instead? Because Joe Rogan, he said before how he would like fights on a basketball court, sort of, in the sense where there's all this space to fight, but that's better for strikers or people that want to just disengage. But like the pit really forces the action, and I think that'd be better for MMA.
I think it would too, but I think it would be hard to sway 30 years of watching an octagon. You know what I mean? True. It'd be hard. You'd have a hard divide of fans, I think.
I think it creates some logistical issues too. I mean, you can raise the cage up and the walls are see-through because it's a cage. You put a pit. Obviously, I can't see through those edges, so where I have to raise the walls. Where do I put the bottom level of stands in an arena? Like, the front rows wouldn't be able to see in. You actually almost want to be back and elevated in stands for that. So I think there's some logistical issues for that. But for like an actual like fight perspective, I kind of like it. I'm not a huge fan of rings or cages. I think they present their own little issues for fighting. I mean, Jordan, you fought in a cage, you've sparred in a cage and stuff. Like, it is possible to get like basically like trapped where the cage meets the floor in that little L. Like, if someone's wrestling you, they can almost like wedge you in that, and it's really hard to get out of there because you're kind of stuck. People can pin you against a cage. Cages can stop takedowns. I know it's supposed to be a penalty, but they never call it because refs are terrible and the rules are terrible. But people grab a cage, stops the takedown, can change the whole course of the fight. Same thing with rings. People go underneath the ropes. They get tangled in ropes. They do all this kind of stuff. I'm a big fan of just have it as like an open, flat surface. I like it.
I don't like what they do on Fight Pass or what they used to do on Metamoris, where you could fall off and land, 8 feet on concrete.
Yeah, that raised surface. That's a terrible idea for grappling.
Fucking horrible.
I don't know why promotions do that.
No idea.
Or Wagner Hosha could boot you off the stage into the crowd. That's also an option.
Yeah,
which is one thing I hate. I hate like the ADCC pushing people out of the mat area and still grappling. I think it's so stupid and dangerous. Someone's gonna get hurt really bad one day, and the pit really solves that. And I think it's funny too that it came from karate, right? It came from
karate combat.
Like, who would think that karate combat would have such an impact on jiu-jitsu?
Dude, just to build off that ADCC push out, like, I'm a huge fan. It's fun to watch, man. Like, it's true. Crazy watching guys. I used to love it until the ADCC Toronto. I'm trying to take a guy down, and we're near the edge, and when my knee goes down to the mat, it missed and hit the concrete on the edge, and immediately I was like, this rule fucking sucks. That hurt so much. Like, kneecap was bruised for like a week. Man, that shit hurt. I can't imagine actually getting like taken down onto the concrete. That's horrible.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like something. I admit it's definitely fun to watch, and I think it's very like kind of like barbaric in like a interesting way. But I get so, because I know how I'd feel if I was in that position, like you've been in, like hurting your knee on the concrete, and like even like hitting your head or something like that. Like, I just cringe so much seeing like people hit their heads on concrete. Like, I have a very hard time seeing that, and I think that if that were to happen, ADCC and someone get hurt, or they'd have to change that rule immediately. I think it's just kind of like an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, when my knee hit, that was the first thought that came to my mind was, if that's my head, I might have a broken skull. Like, someone might die.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, talking about broken skulls, bones. I broke a baseball bat with like a wooden baseball bat. I ankle locked it, and it broke so easy. You didn't see the reel on Instagram?
No, I didn't see it yet.
Yeah, it was with Ryan Giuliano. He like asked me he's a YouTuber, and he asked me if I can break it one, and I'm like, yeah, I can do a steel one. I was just like, I was just kidding. And then he pulls out the wooden one. I'm like, okay, I'll try it. I'm not the best ankle locker because I'm not, but like, I was surprised how easy it broke. And I guess that it's easier to break multiple ones than it is to break one, because some guy, he broke 3.
I saw that.
Yeah, and people are like, oh, you know, Jordan only broke 1, this guy broke 3. But other people are like, oh, it's easier to break 3 than 1 because 1 can flex. And then when they're all against each other, it can't flex. So it's easier. I don't know. Joe, you might know. You're smarter in science than I am.
I don't have a clue. I've never tried to break a bunch of baseball bats. But I can see how, like, if you're saying one has bend and you put a cluster together, especially like, you know, it's like trying to, like, this is going to sound terrible for the people listening, but like, Jordan, you've taught kids class. You roll around with the kids. You ever try to like rear naked choke the kids? It's fucking hard because their necks are so skinny.
Yeah.
There's so much room. You fill that up, you can actually get a lot more pressure because like I don't have to close my arms as much to cover the space. So I could see how 3 wouldn't be too much harder just because, one, you take away room for them to flex, and it also makes for like a more comfortable grip. Baseball bats aren't that thick at the handle, so like it can be hard to really like latch around it.
Yeah, it was funny. People were like, "Oh, he broke it at the weakest point of the baseball bat." Like, you think I'm like, targeting where I'm trying to break it? Like, I'm breaking where I'm breaking it. It was really funny reading those comments because it really shows you like people will just talk shit, like anything they can
just
find.
to talk shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was like, it didn't bother me at all. It actually made me feel better. I'm like, okay, anytime I get negative comments, it's just probably dummies like these guys, you know. But yeah, what I did is I ordered 4 baseball bats on Amazon because, you know, this guy broke 3. I want to one up him and I want to get 4. So, and then what I want to do, I might do this, is like put out like a challenge, just like a, you know, a playful one. Like, I broke 4. Can you break 5? And then see if other people will like, you know, try to break 5. And then it become like 6, 7, you know, and make like a viral challenge trend out of it. I don't know if it'll be successful. I also ordered an aluminum baseball bat because they don't have steel ones. I didn't know that. Yeah, they're aluminum. I think I can break it. I will not break it. I think I can bend it, but maybe I can't. I don't know how strong aluminum is.
I'm gonna guess that you can't bend it. I'm
going to. Yeah. Thank you for that motivation, Mike.
No, that's what I'm here for.
Thank you, Joey. Can you bend aluminum? Do you think?
I don't. Never tried. I know aluminum's weaker than steel, so it should be a good, interesting test. It's a little stronger than wood, I believe, but again, it depends on the type of wood and the density of the aluminum. But it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, I think it's possible. I don't know if it'll snap, but you could definitely, I think, bend it.
Yeah, I think so.
So what have you been up to, Joey, lately?
Oh man, a lot of competing. I think it's been, since our last episode, 3 competitions, I want to say. They've gone well. I've won all my divisions. I think I'm like 13-0, 14-0 in the matches, all subs. So it's been pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah, can't complain.
Yeah, I mean, things are going, get off my keyboard, cat. Yeah, things have been going really well. Happy with that. A little busy now. Paige and I are actually just buying a house. So,
oh, congratulations.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a competition in 2 weekends I really wanted to go to, but we close on our house like the day after the tournament. And I kind of talked to Paige and she was like, yeah, that's not going to happen for you that weekend. So that's a little upsetting, but no, it's been good. Made a trip to Saskatchewan this past weekend to compete for American viewers. Saskatchewan is, I'm going to offend the Saskatchewan people. I'm sorry. Just imagine like a large flat piece of land with nothing on it. That's Saskatchewan.
You can watch your dog run away for 2 days.
We hit a tumbleweed with the car on the way there. Like a tumbleweed hit the front of my car. We almost hit a moose. So that was kind of cool. Scary, but cool. That was a very long 10-hour drive.
Man, that's too long. I wouldn't want to drive that long just to go to Saskatchewan.
No, but we went and dropped in at a gym. Actually, it was the first time I've ever got to do a CLA class. There's a gym out there who runs a CLA class. Here's the cat for the people watching this being a menace. Go away. So that was kind of cool to be on the other side of it, you know. Probably, I don't know if this aligns with your experience, but we as coaches, we experiment with a lot of stuff. We teach it to our students, but sometimes it's really different to be on the other side of it and kind of experience what that's like. So I really enjoyed that, and that made the trip really worth it. And then the competition went well. Won a little bit of a cash prize in the absolute, so that was, you know, paid for my trip, which was nice.
Nice. How much did you win? Sorry.
A few $100.
Nice.
Not a lot, but it's, hey, for me, like, if I can drive out there and it covers my hotel and my gas, that's all I need, man. I'm super happy.
I'm confused. I thought that was it Canada or Ontario where you can't win cash prizes for prize fighting?
I think it's just Ontario.
Is it just here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, hey, was I on? Well, I didn't win cash. I found the cash on the ground on top of the podium.
Yeah, it's messed up
for legal reasons.
Yeah. Because if you win cash here, you're considered a prize fighter, and prize fighting is illegal unless it's sanctioned. So yeah, it's stupid.
I know that there's a lot of tournaments in Alberta that have been giving out cash prizes. Unfortunately, I'm never able to win them. Sucks. They're always absolute divisions, and there's a few guys out here who are just like, I've lost to the one guy I think like 4 times now. I don't know how to beat him. He's bigger than me. He's also really, really good. Just keeps stealing cash prizes from me. He's like, I think it's up to like $8,000. This guy's one away from me. So
shit,
fucking hell.
Yeah. How much bigger is he than you?
A lot. I think he's a little over 200. He's in like the 220 range probably. Shout out Christian Simmerling, Rocky Mountain Jiu-Jitsu, if anyone's out in Calgary. Great guy. I think he's a former professional football player too, so he's athletic as shit. Yeah, he's one of the few guys, like every time I fight him, I try a different game plan, and it seems to be going worse and worse every time I fight him, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I got to find something, get one of those baseball bats. Maybe that's how I beat him.
We have a former pro athlete here, and it transfers very well to jiu-jitsu. He was like a big hockey enforcer, I believe.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah. And it translates to jiu-jitsu amazingly.
Yeah, he's a beast. He's not like he just got his blue belt 2 days ago, and he's already like as effective as like most purple belts, if not more.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people underestimate how much like professional athletes, when they transfer over to like jiu-jitsu or something, like the understanding of how you move your body and the ability to do things with your body is like actually insane. You get a guy who's never really done any sports. He's like, they're gonna hate me, but like an accountant or something who has like a day job at a desk, and you got someone who played professional hockey or professional football for years, and you put them on the mat. They might both be brand new white belts, but there's a giant difference in what those two guys are going to be capable of doing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not even just like it is like experience in different sports, but it's also just like genetically. Like some people just hit the jackpot and are just super athletic and can do any sport basically. But yeah, doing other sports, I mean, even though it's not as representative of the environment, it still like helps you because you understand how to move your body and whatnot. So. Yeah, actually, someone asked a question on Instagram that we could cover today. They asked, like, if like a regular person was in like I don't know what the word is, like a hype, I don't know, like in like Dragon Ball Z where they were like, what was it like Goku or someone, but they were like in that space thing for a long time, a spaceship, and like time just could go forever. And like I'm not explaining this well, but if someone could like have an infinite amount of time to get better at jiu-jitsu, and then they could face Gordon Ryan when they feel ready or whatever. Could they beat Gordon Ryan? Even if it's like hundreds of years of like skill development, I would say it depends on the person.
I would agree with you. It depends on your athletic ability and your genetics.
But I think I think they'd have to be like, I don't know, they'd have to be really. He would have to have like a good baseline for sure.
Like I think there's a point where like if you could give someone like 50,000 years of training and put them still in their like 32 or 40-year-old body or whatever, like there's going to be a sheer volume of practice that eventually will be enough. But for like practical purposes, I think there's a large portion of the population that no matter how much you train, you will never be better than Gordon Ryan. Like it wouldn't matter if you trained 7 times a day, 7 days a week, and had all the steroids and recovery tools available. You just won't be better than that.
Exactly. It's a sad thing to say, but it's just true, Yeah,
some people are just born better.
Man, it sucks as someone who competes all the time in jiu-jitsu to have matches with some guys and have to like afterwards just kind of sit down and be like, I don't think I'll ever be better than that person. Like, I don't think I'll be able to beat them for whatever reasons. Like, they're not excuses. Maybe they're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, but it's like there just comes a point where it's like I can't overcome that gap. This is the ceiling for me.
Exactly. I think some people just have like that it factor, and I consider it like athleticism that's not necessarily like physical, even though there's physical elements to it. But some people are just great, like their mind can and their body just like has great reaction time, knows what to do when and whatnot, and you can do like any sport. Like I remember playing soccer. I was a pretty good soccer player, and sometimes I would face other teams that I could like tell like that guy has got like the it factor, like that guy's good, and like where I didn't see that all the time, but I could recognize it when I did see it. Like there's people that are good, like where they're like they do a good job and everything, but there's people that just have that it factor, and I feel like that's Gordon Ryan. I think that's his like biggest attribute, like over anything else. Like the technique for sure is important, athleticism is important, like the steroids are important for him, but he's just a naturally, well, I shouldn't say naturally a great grappler, but I think he naturally is, plus he's unnatural too.
Yeah. And I think some people are kind of like towards that point, some people are just good at winning. Like,
yeah.
As weird as it is to say, like I've watched a few guys compete that I watched them in matches and I'm like, okay, this guy is not very good. Or like maybe I've trained or competed against them. I'm like, man, they're not that great. But then they just seem to win against guys that are way better than them, or that I think are better than them. And like, I don't think I'm that wrong in my ability to watch a match, but some guys just have this ability to find ways to win, even against people who are better than them. And I don't know if everyone has that. And like, I'll be honest, I don't know what that is. I wish I had that. God, I wish I had that. But some people are just really good winners.
Tank Abbott was talking about that on JRE. I watched the other day. They had him on, and he said some people are just born fighters. They just will not quit. It doesn't matter. You can be better than them in every way, but you will not beat them, because they just will take a beating and they'll still be there and they'll keep coming and they just won't stop ever. They just have that mindset.
And then I think the best guys are the guys that are really good, and they have that too, where like they find a way to win. So because it can go both ways. You can be worse than your opponent and find a way to win, but you can also be better than them and just good in general, and just always find a way to win. Because even if you're really good, doesn't mean you're going to win every match. But if you have that it factor of like you're a winner, that helps like so much too. Like that's why, like, I joke around, I can beat a grizzly bear. Like, I don't actually think that. But, like, in my mind, I'm like, I can find a way to win, But, yeah, I realize that's unrealistic. Actually, good question. Sorry,
important.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, that's important for someone who has been competitive. Like, I know you don't compete a lot anymore, but you were at one point. And I think, you talk to most good competitors, and they'll all kind of tell you something really similar in that, like, every time you step on the mat or in the cage or whatever it is, you have to believe you can win. Like, whether or not you think when I compete, every match I get, I like to tell my students the way I approach it is, I don't know if I'm going to win. I can't guarantee that. That's not possible. But I believe I can win every match I get on the mat. It's just about whether or not I do it or not. But I always believe I can win. There has to be a way for me to win, and it's my job to find it. Sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not. But if you don't believe you can win, man, that's going to make it really hard to beat anybody.
Exactly. And that's why I get stressed out competing, because like I have that mindset, like I'm going to win. And I also have that expectation that I have to win. And then it's like, but then at the same time, you're like, what if something, you zig when you should have zagged and things go wrong and it's just not your day that day. And that can really mess with your mind. And that's why it's such relief, like when you do win, like that, or when I win, it's not like I'm happy I won. It's just relief, because I got that over with and met my expectations. So I think that's a hard thing for people to deal with. And one question while we're on Gordon Ryan and grizzly bears, how many Gordon Ryans would it take to beat a grizzly bear?
Oh, a lot of Gordon Ryans.
A lot.
Yeah,
a lot. Like you're going to need at least. You're probably going to need 20 Gordon Ryans.
Yeah, I was going to say 25.
Wow.
With weapons probably too, with an axe or something. They're not just going to punch a grizzly bear in the face 25. And the bear's going to rip the fuck out of all of them, shred them.
See, I said 3, but I think that's because I have the mindset of like, I don't know, find a way to win. I guess it makes sense to probably take more than that.
Bears are strong, and they have razor blade claws and teeth. Like one bite, all right, that Gordon Ryan's dead. Next Gordon Ryan, or one slap. All right, that's a dead Gordon Ryan. On to the next one. Like, I think you would need like a sheer amount of Gordon Ryans. I think you would need enough Gordon Ryans that this bear gets tired.
Yeah, and I doubt they tire easily when they're angry.
No, dude, they're huge too. Like, if you ever get to see a bear in the wild, like especially a grizzly bear, man, they are hunting, absolutely enormous creatures.
Yeah. See, I saw a TikTok of one like yesterday, or maybe it was today, and it was running after like them in their car. And it was like, holy shit, this thing's huge, and it's very scary. I'm like, maybe I'm wrong about it taking 3 Gordon Ryans, but I was put on the spot. He was Ryan too, like when did the bat breaking thing. He's who asked me, and I was like, it takes 3 of him, but only 1 of me. And yeah,
put it this way, I went hunting out west in Edmonton, or near Banff, and we went bear hunting, and I had a 7mm high-powered rifle, and I was scared shitless because if I fuck up or miss, I'm dead. That thing charges at me. He's close enough. I'm dead. That's it.
I mean, you shoot a bear. If you shoot a bear and you don't kill it with the shot, like if you miss the heart or whatever like organ you're aiming for, like that thing's not going to die instantly.
Yeah.
And it's going to be furious.
Yes.
But I really think I could beat like an average sized black bear.
If you took the claws off and the teeth, maybe. Like,
I got teeth. I got like vampire teeth.
You ever play with a cat? Like, you know, rub the stomach on a cat and they like claw you and it's like, oh, fucking hell. Like my hand, like the claws got me. And those are like tiny little claws. Bear claws will rip you to shreds.
But they just don't look that intimidating. I don't know. Maybe they look nice.
Now, black bears are kind of goofballs. They're just giant goofballs. I think if they're playing, yeah, you can probably wrestle around with them if they're playing. I mean, there's a lot of videos of like zookeepers playing with bears and kind of wrestling around. The big problem is like if it actually wants to kill you,
yeah, you're fucked.
Then you've got a big problem because it will not play anymore. It will try to kill.
But what if I actually want to kill it though? You know,
we don't have claws.
That would be so much fun though to grapple with a bear. Like I wish we could grapple with more animals. Like to grapple with a chimpanzee. Like they are so jacked. I didn't realize how jacked they were until I saw one without fur. Because at first I thought, okay, I can probably take this, but then I saw it without fur. I'm like, okay, it's way stronger than me.
And they're sorry, Mike, for their muscle size too. They're significantly stronger than humans. Like a 160-pound chimpanzee and a 160-pound human, I think it's something like a 4 times strength differential on how much they can lift.
Yeah,
they're shockingly powerful animals.
Yeah, like why did they get the why did they get gifted genetically compared to humans? Like, I know it's off topic, but like, you know, wouldn't it be nice if we had those genetics like they do?
Bro, they just hang from trees all day. You get real strong too.
That's the key.
I think
spend your whole life just hanging from trees eating bananas.
If we had those genetics, it'd be dangerous because you know you'd get pissed off at some time and you'd fucking rip somebody's arm off, not even on purpose. You shake their hand and rip their fucking arm off.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. I've heard that like walking on your hands and feet like a monkey, that can build up a lot of strength in your arms. I don't know if you guys have any desire to do that.
Probably. I'm not going to do it. Funny monkey story while we're on it though. While my one student and I were in Saskatchewan, our matches didn't start till like 4 o'clock, and you know, you weigh in at like 10 a.m. and I'm like, fuck, what are we going to do for the next 6 hours? And he's like, do you want to go see a movie? So me and him went on a movie date. We watched one of these like Planet of the Apes movies or whatever. I've never seen these things. Man, watching those monkeys fight before you have a grappling match though will get you hyped. Holy. I was like making monkey noises. I'm like, let's go. I'm a chimp.
Yeah. I mean, I think that would be an effective, like, you know, before a tournament, watch something like that. You know, why watch like Gordon Ryan or something? Watch like Planet of the Apes.
Oh, you watch the monkeys all jumping around trying to fight each other, and you're like, yeah, I'm hyped, man. I could fight anyone right now.
Have you ever seen that account, Nature is Metal, on Instagram?
No.
Fucking check it out, and you might not want to wrestle bears or cougars anymore. It's pretty wild.
It is interesting though, like you watch a lot of these like videos of like animals fighting and stuff, and how much of it actually kind of looks like grappling. Like obviously we have things like the gator roll where you roll around your back. You watch an alligator bite something, they just start barrel rolling until things rip off. And like my wife was playing with our cat the other day, and I noticed something really interesting. When the cat's on her back, they're really good at playing guard. Like they always keep all of their feet between whatever they're playing with and their body. Like they have this like natural inclination to like all 4 feet are frames basically at all times, and they'll push with the frames and do things we would do with frames. I just thought it was interesting how it's like a lot of the stuff we do when we fight and grapple seem to be like across animal culture. Like animals seem to have an instinctive understanding of like frames and keep your feet between you and the thing that's attacking you.
Yeah, like why do they have that, but like white belts don't, you know? Like, yeah, you see like some people, they just start and they have like no ability to, or no like natural instinct to like keep any sort of defensive like frames in the way, take any grips, and you know, then cats have them like beat.
I think we do though. Like if you ever play with like young kids and babies, they seem to do that kind of stuff really well. I think it's like just modern life kind of takes that away from you. Like we traded our instincts on how to grapple and how to do combat for having like skyscrapers and roads and 9-to-5 jobs and computers.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think you are right. I think it probably depends on the person too, but definitely like kids tend to have that instinct.
The kids are interesting, man, because like if you give them things to do, they actually learn to move really well. I mean, how many people say like I wish I'd started when I was a kid, or like kids learned how to do things better. I think it's something to do with like the not fully formed mind. Like they absorb information better and they learn and build pathways better in their brain, whereas like adults are more set in our ways, so it's really hard to overcome the experiences and to add new things in. Like kids learning language is a big thing. Like, man, learning languages as an adult is hard as hell, but kids can learn 3 languages at a time, no problem, and they're fluent in all 3.
Yeah, maybe they can learn the eco language better than I can.
You and me both, man. You and me both. I'm trying. It's hard.
Yeah.
When you guys are talking about it off air, I have no idea what you guys are talking about sometimes.
Yeah.
There's got to be an easier way to describe these things, like a layman's terms, you know, in layman's terms.
Well, I mean, you kind of can, but then you get in trouble. The eco police come and they try to arrest you and write articles about you.
Yeah. See, I do with my students, though. Like, a lot of my students don't understand any of the science behind how or why I teach, and I don't use any of the, like, scientific language, except for a couple of them who want to teach, and for me, it's important. I try and help them out, but for most of the students, like, they don't need to know that, man. You show up to the class, you just have to do the things. It's my job to know it and try and put that into human terms for when someone asks me, and it's like, hey, why are we doing things this way? I want to give them an answer they can understand. I don't want my answer to be, go read these 11 scientific papers and get back to me when you understand them, and then we'll talk. It's like, no, man, I'll just give you a quick answer. People learn better by doing stuff in the live environment. Cool. That's all I need to say. Most of the time, they're like, all right, thanks, coach. And then they get back to what they're doing.
Yeah, like that's the way it should be for other coaches too, you know, because the eco guys are sometimes like, read this book and that book and that book, and then you can talk to me. Then you can ask me a question. So, well, I mean, can you just tell me the answer? Like, that's eco too, right? You can't tell them the answer. You got to lead them to it.
I mean, if you're the kind of person who someone wants to talk to you about a subject you're knowledgeable in, and your response is read these things, then you can talk to me. This is the exact wrong way to approach it. Like, the right way to approach it is talk to me, and then if you have more questions, read the thing and we'll come back. And it's like the games in class, you know, my answer isn't just go figure it out. It's here's a game with a problem and a solution, and I'll demonstrate the game. Like, this is what we're going to do. Play the game, try and figure it out. If you can't now, we'll talk about it more. But I don't just come up to my students and go, go in half guard and figure out how to sweep them. Like, no, we're going to play games that help try and develop those skills. And if you still have problems, now we'll talk deeper about it. Like, I think a lot of people have this backwards of that. You need to, like, know about the subject, then we can talk about the subject. As someone who knows about the subject, it should be your job to help educate other people on the subject yourself. That, everything travels downhill. Like, I have a friend who just finished med school, and we were kind of talking about this the other day. Like, if you're taking an antibiotic, I don't need to understand how the antibiotic works. I don't need to understand the mechanisms that this chemical is going to go in my body and it's going to do this to bacterial cells and break them down in this way. No, I just need to know pill make infection go away.
Yeah, just like that electrical example you had. Like, you want to share that with the audience?
Yeah, I always like one of the things I say to people is like a counter argument. It's like, if you're an electrician, you don't need to know particle physics. Particle physics is what makes the electricity and all this stuff happen. It's the underlying mechanics behind all the stuff the electrician's working with. But as far as the electrician's concerned, he just needs to care that the light switch goes on and it's not going to burn the house down. He's not going to get electrocuted to death. He needs to know some information, but there's a lot of stuff he does not need to know because it's not practically applicable to what he's doing. And the same thing applies for coaching. Like, I really believe you can coach using ecological dynamics and CLA without knowing all of the science, all of it. You need to know a little bit. You need that baseline of like, this wire goes here, I get shocked and die. The electrician needs to know that or he's going to die. There's a little bit you have to know, but you don't need to know all the deep underlying science to be an effective coach.
Yeah, I agree, because like, I don't understand the science like at a crazy amount. Like, I think I do a decent amount, but not amazing. But like, I know jiu-jitsu and I know how to come up with games that make people better at jiu-jitsu. So like, I feel like I know enough, but yeah, I don't want to rant too much. I'll save that for another podcast. But what I did want to talk about too, I had my Rolling In Tobago Jiu-Jitsu camp. It was a lot of fun. We went to Trinidad and Tobago and did Jiu-Jitsu for a week with a bunch of cool people. And you guys should definitely come next time. It's like the most fun you could ever have doing Jiu-Jitsu. One thing I found interesting was like, it was way easier to train there. Like, I was doing 2-a-days every day and my body was handling it pretty well. I feel like here, like, I don't know what it is. I feel like I'm pretty like sore and tired from like one hard training session. I don't know if it's just like stress and stuff like that that's like makes you not recover as well. But I feel like, yeah, 2 days were like no problem.
I think setting has a lot to do with it too, right? Like, you didn't have to worry about the gym. It was taken care of. You didn't have to worry about your kids. They were taken care of. You know, you could just be free and be yourself.
Yeah, that's what I think it is for sure. Like, yeah, just, and like being kind of immersed in it and having more like motivation to train, just because like it's exciting training with new people and, you know, training twice a day. It's just exciting when it's with other people you never trained with before. So it's kind of like that motivation to work harder, even if you're tired.
I think I might go next year. I just have to get over my fear of flying. And then I've flown before, half a dozen times. It just gets worse every time. But I really want to go next year.
Yeah, you got to come.
Yeah.
I'll cover it for you. You just got to get on the plane.
That's hard to turn down. I probably will.
Okay, you're in then. You're in. Joey, you got to come too.
I'd love to. It's hard to get away from the gym, man. You know the struggle when you're a new gym owner. It's hard to get away. I don't want to leave.
Yeah, that's a good point. But
I need vacations too. Guys, if your coaches ever leave on vacations, don't hold it against them, please. They need it too.
Exactly. What you should do is, you know, start working on your YouTube channel and stuff like that. And then it could be like, you know, like a business trip, right? You can make content and teach and stuff like that. And yeah, I think it'd be good.
Like a working
I'd love
vacation.
to. I mean, we got a bunch of stuff filmed that I just need to edit. And it's just been, with the house buying process, has been a nightmare. So we've been so busy with that stuff and getting ready to move now. Once that's done, I think I'll actually have time to edit a video.
Yeah, good. Because I think you're kind of missing out on not doing that. You know, so the sooner you do it, the better. I did that fake white belts prank, reverse, like the reverse Uno card. Did you watch it, Joey?
Yeah.
Yeah, it turned out pretty good. I mean, like, I didn't really plan for it. Like I told you guys, like, I kind of swinged it. But it still turned out pretty good. But, like, Arwen, like, I don't know, the target, I don't know what to call him. But, like, yeah, the fake white belt, he wasn't very, like, expressive, which is totally fine. But, like, it made it really hard to edit because I didn't have a lot of reactions from him. like barely any. So all, like, the reactions that were in the video, that's all I had to work with. So it turned out pretty good despite that. And, yeah, we raised a lot of money for his son, for autism. We raised, like, I think $8,000 since the video went up. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think that's pretty sweet for him.
That's great, yeah. Awesome. It's a fun night.
Yeah, and I also got to roll with Arthur, who's a really good black belt. And, man, yeah, I was dead after that. I realized really quick my cardio is so bad right now. But it's also because I'm, like, 200 pounds. Like, literally, like, I'm, like, 205 right now. And, like, I don't know. I feel like I don't look 205. But, yeah, I'm 205. I'm, like, way bigger. But I'm grappling way better.
So you find it as an advantage when you grapple?
Well, it's an advantage, except for my cardio is worse because of it. Yeah,
it's an advantage for the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, exactly. I felt like I had to rely on my strength. As I got kind of tired, I had to start like being a little slower and just like strength and size, which I felt bad about. But no, he's really good for sure. But yeah, I need to get back in shape big time.
I watched both videos, yours where you commentated and his where he commentated. Both very good. He is very complimentary, and yeah, he's an excellent grappler.
Yeah, it really made my day, like watching his and him being complimentary. Because I wrote in the comments, but I'll share here too. Like back in the day, like Arthur was like one of the best guys in Ontario, and like me and Joey were belonged to a gym that was the same affiliation that his gym belonged to, and he was like the guy, and he destroyed me as a white belt and as a blue belt. But then when I rolled with him as a blue belt, he gave me like he's like complimentary. He's like, "Oh, you should compete. Like you're a really good blue belt," and that just like gave me so much confidence. And I was like, I really appreciate that from him. And yeah, it's like I felt like that was a really impactful thing. So it was a really cool experience to get to roll with him as a black belt. Now I've got a lot of size on him, so like I think if we were like. I think I got a little bit better of the roll only because of the size. But he is so good, and it was just nice to be able to. I don't know, roll someone that like I looked up to so much and still do. He's a great guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys who like you said, when we started, I looked up to him. Like I thought, and he's kind of stopped competing now as he's transitioned. I don't know what's going on with his life.
Sorry, Joe, he's got to talk more into the mic. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I'll move this around. Yeah, like when we were coming up, I looked up to Arthur a lot. I thought he was one of the most talented guys I'd ever rolled with for a long time. And he won a lot. He had a lot of success on the competition scene up through like purple belt, I think, like winning like Euros or something like that. Or yeah, he did really well. And I don't know. I don't think he competes anymore, if I'm correct.
No,
I
not
think
very
he's
often.
retired from it. But I think there's a lot of people in the Ontario scene who maybe don't know who he is or how good he was when he used to compete. And I'm sure that's true for like a lot of guys. I guess we're in like a unique position where like we've been around the game so long that we've kind of seen these waves of guys who were like, everyone looked up to them, they were amazing, and then they stopped competing and retire. And this new generation of grapplers has no idea who they were, and they don't understand how good some of these guys used to be. Like even in the pro scene, we talk about guys like Marcelo. Like there's a lot of people coming up now who've literally never seen a Marcelo match. Or the Mendes brothers retired in like 2017. There's a lot of guys who've never seen, like they're purple belts now, brown belts, who've never seen a Mendes brothers match live. And you're like, yeah, it's hard to explain how good these guys were in their time.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because like if I were to make a YouTube video about like Marcelo Garcia, like it wouldn't get that many views only because it's only really the people that have been doing it for a long time that knows who he is. And that's such a strange thing to like feel like almost like we're getting old, just because like the guys that were like the top dogs are kind of, I don't want to say forgotten by the new generation, but I mean they kind of are.
Yeah, I mean it just like people just didn't experience it, and people go back and they watch it and it doesn't have the same effect because you look at it through today's lens. You look at Marcelo and you go, oh, it's just the same stuff Gordon Ryan's doing, like a lot of it. And you're like, well, yeah, but he was doing it 10 years before Gordon Ryan was doing it. Like, I think that lens is lost on a lot of people that like they see this stuff and they go, oh yeah, everyone's doing this. Like the Mendes brothers with their Berimbolo game and all that stuff. And they're like, yeah, everyone at the black belt level can do that now. And it's like, yeah, but when they were doing it, not everyone could. This was new. It was a thing that like people didn't really know, and they were innovating that game. It's, you look back and I'm sure there's guys that we look back on that I'm like, yeah, I'm not super impressed. But at the time they would have been like, holy shit, this guy's amazing.
Yeah, I think the Mendes brothers are a great example. Like, man, they were so good, and they're such great coaches. Like, so many of their guys are just absolutely killing it, and taking their guys from kids to adults, competitors, is like, I think that's the ultimate test of like your coaching. Like Danaher, great, yeah, I'm not talking shit, but a lot of his guys, they were already good before they went to him. Of course, he made them better, but like the Mendes brothers taking kids from nothing to like world champion adults now, that's like I don't think you can get a better like accolade for coaching.
It's like at Atos where the Ruotolos.
And they started with the Mendes brothers, or maybe they didn't start, but they were there for a while. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think there's like don't get me wrong, there's definitely like, I'm not going to say John Danaher is a bad coach, but there is a skill of taking people who are already elite level grapplers and making them better. And there's an entirely different skill of taking people who come into you with zero experience and making them elite competitors. Like those are different things, and I don't know why people think in jiu-jitsu it has to be all or nothing or one or the other. You look at like traditional sports, like the guy coaching the NFL is probably not the best guy to be coaching like 7-year-old recreational league football. Like he's not going to develop that talent. His job is to take people who are already world class and make them better, make them the best. Whereas there's a really different skill in the guy who can take youth coaches and make like kids good enough to get to that level where they can have the coach who specializes in that thing. And of course, there's like, for things like that, there's a bunch of different coaches and steps along the way. But it's interesting how jiu-jitsu is a sport where they just like, we just assume that a coach should be able to do all of those things and be good at all of those things. And they're really different skills.
Yeah. And like, I don't want to get into the eco debate, like, but I think that there's value and there's something there of like what the Mendes brothers are doing and something we can learn from, because man, they just have so many freaking good guys there. Like, what do you think they're doing that's like separating themselves from like really the rest? Because their kids team is just like unreal.
I think they put a lot of time and effort into actually building out around that kids team. So their kids program is not just like another program that the gym has. They train their kids program to be world champions. They're training with the intention of doing that. It's a highly competitive room. They've got a lot of talent. So you're training with other really talented athletes all the time. You're going to get better. They're training with a purpose for rule sets too. Like they're actually training to compete. Most kids classes, like I haven't seen your kids class in a while, but most gyms or kids classes, it's about letting the kids have some fun, learn some skill, get a little bit better. From what I've seen of their higher level kids classes, that's not what the Mendes brothers classes are about. They are about making you a world champion, and they're going to try and do that. And you can. I suspect that there's a lot of kids in that program who don't make it and burn out or drop out along the way. And it's hard to know as an outsider because obviously we're never going to see that. You see all the success stories because they made it. You don't see the hundreds of kids who got burned out from trying to train 3 times a day, 7 days a week, and don't do it anymore because no one's going to publicize that story. But I would suspect they actually have a high turnover rate in that regard. But also when you're known for making kids into world champions and then turning them into world-class black belts, if you have kids from other gyms in the area, and I know they're in California, which is pretty populated, kids who have that as their goal are going to seek that out. So you kind of create an environment where, you know, we've done it a couple of times. So you've got other high-level kids in the room training with other high-level kids. Kids who want to be world champions are really likely to go there because there's a proven track record of making the success you're looking for. I think it kind of compounds on itself that way.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely a factor, and a huge factor for sure, because like, you know, the kids that are going there, they want to be competitors. They want to be the best, and them training with each other are going to make each other better too. But I think that we can't completely discount like their training methods too. Like, I'd be interested to see like what they do, if it differs from like what most gyms do, or like if it differs from like what like ecological gyms do. I would just be curious to see what they do in general. Yeah.
They actually have a lot of their like class structure stuff posted like on YouTube videos. You can get glimpses of it. It's usually not in long form, like a whole recorded class. So the caveat is we're going to miss big chunks of it because they're only posting select portions. And I assume there's portions they're not posting for reasons of not wanting the world to see what that portion of their class looks like. I do know some people who've dropped into their classes. They're not super into the live training, but there is a lot of rolling, and you're rolling with good guys, and you're rolling at a high pace with competitors. So you're going to get better that way. But from what I've seen, I might be wrong. Someone who trains at AOJ might have some more information. I don't think they have any sort of like secret sauce in the training method. To me, it's more about the people in the room and the focus in the room. Yeah,
I think so. And I think also just their knowledge and technical ability, like because they're like wizards on the mat. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting to learn more about that. But it's been a great discussion. We only talked about eco like 3 times, and not for too long either. So I hope you guys are proud of us. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.